Welcome to another episode of Our Inner Sparks Featured Insights. I am Lily Yan, your host of this podcast and founder of Our Inner Sparks, a social enterprise that provides products and services to enable individuals, businesses, and organizations to reach their fullest potentials in a fast and ever-changing world. We dedicate a portion of our profits to support and fund social programs to empower and enable those in the community, especially women in need. On our podcast, we will be featuring some amazing women in our communities doing extraordinary things. They will also be sharing some information, tips, and strategies around the area of their expertise to enable all of us to excel in our lives. If you like our program, please don't forget to subscribe. Just click on the subscribe button on your screen. If you would like to continually support the growth of our Inner Sparks social programs, such as this podcast, please consider a one-time or a subscription of donations on our website. Now, let's get to today's feature. In honor of Autism Awareness Month in April, we thought it would be so amazing to invite someone who's a strong ally for children with special needs. Today, we have Kelly Leslie, who has 30 years in education as a teacher, vice principal, and now currently an instructor at Brock University. And recently, she has started even writing books, children's books, showcasing characters with special needs. This is going to be an amazing episode. Hi, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Hi there, Lily. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Wonderful. So April, as you and I know, is Autism Awareness Month. And we thought it would be so wonderful to invite someone like yourself who is a strong ally for children with special needs. So welcome.
Thank you.
Why don't we get started with you telling our audience a bit about yourself? Who is Kelly? What got you into the field of education? And why you're so passionate about what you do, especially for children with special needs.
Okay. So I was one of those kids that I played school all the time. I begged my mom to buy me a blackboard, and I had my stuffies all lined up so I could teach them. I took attendance and kids.
So cool.
So,
I can see, that's a great way of playing, right? Role playing in
Yeah,
a child.
yeah.
That's
And
wonderful.
it's fun, like, fast forward how many years later. And I have the absolute privilege of working with student teachers now in the Faculty of Education. And it's hilarious how many times, because we ask the same question, what got you into teaching?
Yes.
And it's so funny, the ones that share that, oh, I've been doing it since I was 5, so I just think that's hilarious how the intuitive ones.
Yes.
It's a very long. Anyway, so I got into obviously teaching. What evolved for me was I started finding I had an affinity for students that were struggling, either academically or behavior wise. I have no idea why, but I always remember words from my mom, and I was trying to figure it out, and I just don't understand. You get so upset, or this child does this, and she said, well, her wise words that I use to this day were always look beyond the behavior. Something's going on. So solve the puzzle, look beyond the behavior. I was like, oh, wow. So that unlocked, for some reason, a lot for me. I used it with my own 2 girls when they were growing up. And then, honestly, words from my father were, it's so fantastic that we are all different. Can you imagine how boring life would be if we were all the same?
So
And
true.
because we're all, and because we're all different, we have so much to learn from each other. So it kind of, that was always in the back of my mind subconsciously, and as I entered the field of teaching. So that's how I was as a younger teacher. And then added to that, I just love helping, especially children, and especially those that have some roadblocks in their lives. And so mid-career, I was hired at a different board as a guidance counselor in a middle school. Oh, absolutely loved that position.
Mhm.
That kind of evolved into administration for me, and I became a vice principal. And then I spent the last almost 13 years of my career as a principal. And I had the amazing opportunity to work in three different schools. When I finished, when I retired,
Mhm.
I found that uh, I was missing the connection, and mostly, honestly, with children.
Right.
So something I did notice when I was in the field was there weren't a lot of picture books, books for younger children that addressed special needs
Mhm.
in an age appropriate way. So I thought, I used to like to write when I was like, young,
Mhm.
and now I have a little more time on my hands. So I enrolled in a year long writing course to make sure I was doing this properly. And I started writing children's picture books for ages 4 to 8, around there. And every book deals with some sort of struggle, quote unquote, on behalf of the main character.
Mhm.
So my first one was Hannah's Hugs. I wanted to make it kind of fantasy related in that the younger children will identify with a main character. So I made it about a caterpillar, and her name is Hannah. And the first book was Hannah's Hugs. And Hannah has anxiety. And the book showcases her amazing strengths and ways that she finds to help her find strategies for her anxiety. And
Mhm.
then from that, I went on to, I thought, oh, let's make this a series. So next one was about Hannah's little sister, and it's called Hannah's Little Sis. And her little sister Tempest is a little, she's fun. I role model my characters from children that I've either taught or have had in my schools as an administrator.
Oh.
So Hannah's little sister's Tempest, and Tempest in real life for me is an amazing little girl, and she has determination. She's smart as a whip, and she is on the spectrum. And actually, I had her showcase some of my books to get her opinion of what she thinks, because I know I would get an honest opinion.
Right.
And so that I made her Hannah's little sis. I role modeled Tempest's real personality. And she has a schoolmate, Zach, who has cerebral palsy.
Mhm.
So the premise of that book is Hannah's little sis Tempest advocating for Zach, and but learning about his amazing strengths, and
Mm.
with the highlight of his strengths, he's very spatially aware, and so he ends up being a coach for Tempest soccer team. And
Oh.
then from there, my third one in the Hannah series is about Kevin, who actually I role modeled that one after my brother, who we lost to cancer.
Oh.
And growing up, he, oh, I was in front of the chalkboard as a child. He was obsessed with planes. And I can't tell you the number of times we made family drives out to the airport so we could watch the planes take off.
Mhm.
So his passion was a pilot, to become a pilot, and he became a pilot. But he also had asthma. So he had struggles because he had asthma quite severely.
Right.
So my main character is about a butterfly named Kevin, and now Hannah has she's evolved into a butterfly as well, and they're friends. And it's about him admitting, being able to tell other people that he has asthma and being okay with it, and then how his friends help him, and he
Mm.
becomes a pilot. Then off of the Hannah series, I I want to make Bruno, believe in Bruno. I want to make it my own, a separate series, I mean. And Bruno is a panda bear with autism. And
Mm.
again, I role model the many, many amazing students I have worked with over the years with autism. And it's basically there are two key characters. There's Bruno, and he's starting. He's a new student in the school, and he's in grade 2. And The other main character is Kim, and Kim has always been more of a fearful child.
Mm-hmm.
And so it talks about how she, through learning about Bruno, and he's nonverbal when in this book so far, um, and it's about them developing a relationship, and her, through learning about autism
Mm-hmm.
and behaviors of some students with autism, her fear decreases and she turns into an advocate and wanting to make more connections with,
Oh,
you know,
these sound
and
amazing. It shows a lot of the strengths that these children have with
mhm,
special needs, and also demonstrates for other kids how you can actually be more aware but advocate as well for others. Um,
exactly.
right, and it's so amazing. Is that what you're trying to accomplish? Or like, what are you, when you put all this together, what is
Yeah.
the key things that you're trying to accomplish with the book
Mm,
series?
I have basically, well, I have a few goals, but my top two. One is I want students with special needs to see themselves in text, and that's important to me. And two is exactly like you said, it's I want to start educating children from a very young age because they're little sponges and they're so brilliant. And I want to take away the mystery or the quote.
Mm,
I use the term loosely, fear around not understanding somebody who's different from us in one way or the other. And I want to help educators and give them hopefully a picture book that they can use as a springboard for conversations for
right.
all children within a class, because it's all about, yes, we're different, but let's highlight our positive differences, because everybody has strengths,
Right.
and I just want it more widely recognized, um, for those children that um, are we are all different, but appear even a little bit more different to classmates. I want them to be able to understand, like, they, they have so many strengths. It's unbelievable. I have seen it. And
Oh,
I would just like that. And also for parents too. So, hopefully
yes.
it'll be a springboard for meaningful conversations. And at the end of each book, I have activities for children. And I have to say, I've kind of test driven these books within the classroom. And one of the most amazing outcomes so far has been what I'm getting back from the students, be it a child in grade two making a connection but through virtual learning, the teacher introduced Believe in Bruno, and he made a connection, and he'd never shared this with the class before, that he has twin brothers with autism,
Mm,
and his reaction was just, oh, like my heart. And then all of a sudden, because the teacher was saying, well, how would you welcome a child like Bruno into our classroom? And then he was just like, well, I do this with my brothers. Boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden, he was a specialist. And that generated the rest of the children asking more questions, asking more questions. So that to me is, you know, that says it all. That's why I do this. Another one,
mm,
Kevin struggles. There was two classes in on the teacher sharing of the book, and the student from each class said, "Hey, I have asthma. I have an inhaler." And then they started sharing with each other, because again, they also share that I've always been embarrassed because I people look at me when I have to take my inhaler. So
yes.
it opened the door to conversation, and I just find that, oh, that was so exciting.
That
My
that is truly, because you put these children in your books as the main character, right? So
Yeah,
that they don't have to hide around. There is no, almost like removing that layer of fear in there. And that they feel, these children who can connect with these stories feel like they can as well, be the protagonist, right? And
right.
be there to really highlight the strength that they have. That's amazing that
That's
this
exactly.
has been the conduit for that type of learning and character building.
That's my hope.
Yeah. Oh, so amazing. I mean, I was going to ask you about, share one of your favorite moments or some of the rewarding parts of your journey. But I think you just kind of shared some of those. But let's talk about maybe what is the most challenging part for you on this journey?
Well, there's also, this is brand new for me. This is new territory. So there's that whole, beat yourself up, self-confidence,
Hmm.
and thinking like, is this good enough? Is this going to resonate with people? I've reached out to parents of children with autism
Hmm.
because I just want to make sure I'm not insulting anybody in any shape. I really try to model the characters in my books after children that I have worked with, I've had the pleasure of working with. It's that piece, and that's just something for I have to work on myself, is But I want to keep the communication open with
Hmm.
parents, and I guess just getting it out there. Having the feedback that I've had so far has just been so inspiring, reaffirming that if we can start at a young age with this message, then these guys are going to grow up, have a different perspective
Yes.
almost. You know what I mean? Is my
Yes.
paradigm shift. I know it's a huge thing, and you
It
know,
is a huge thing, but it takes that one step at a time. And I think you are really, walking that journey right now, seeing the social media that you have, some of the pictures on there, and seeing the children, the way they love reading these stories, just shows that you are on the right track and you are doing what you're set out to do. So it's amazing. Kudos for you.
well, thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait to tap more into the expertise that you have and hear more specific strategies for educators and parents
Hmm.
on building this better environment, more accepting, more positive, and
Hmm.
inclusive for the children with special needs. But before we get there, we have a
Hmm.
segment called In Search of True Fulfillment. It's a set of 3 questions, and I ask this with every single one of my guests.
Okay.
So, what we're looking for is an answer that is either one sentence or 10 words for each of the questions.
Okay.
So, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. The first one is, how do you define success?
How do I define success?
Mhm.
Oh boy, I'm gonna sound corny. Success to me is happiness, and happiness is received my beliefs in positive relationships, and first and foremost in that is positive and loving relationships with my family.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's not corny at all. A lot of people say that. So, oh, and then it is really leads to my second question is what makes Kelly happy in life?
Second part of happiness for me is truly, honestly, helping others, and the absolute joy that comes from the feeling that you have helped somebody in a small or large way, doesn't matter.
So the third question is, what is one thing that everyone should take away from your journey that would also help them to ignite and harvest their inner sparks?
Look beyond the behavior, look beyond the surface. I find we tend to be, as a society, a tad judgmental,
Mhm.
and if we could flip that into the next time that you see someone and it's like, whoa, why are they, instead of the judgment, saying what's going on there,
Right.
what's that person all about, take the time
Yeah.
um, to look beyond the behavior.
Nice, nicely said. And honestly, one of the key messages with our inner sparks is that as well, that everyone has strengths and everyone have that inner spark and inner strength. And this is really a message for yourself, like each individual, to think of ourselves as a unique self that has something special to offer.
Absolutely.
Right? And then I think, same as your main characters in your stories, they all have their own strengths. And you kind of have to find those and play those up and let let that shine so then others can see it and share and celebrate with you. So
Exactly.
mhm. That's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing all those thoughts. Let's move on to our next segment. As promised, we want to share some proven strategies with our audience regarding creating positive and accepting learning environment for everyone.
Hmm.
So my first question then is, what do you see as some critical things that our education system or educators can do to enable an environment of acceptance, kindness, and inclusion for children with varying special needs?
Although teachers, as I said, like I worked with amazing educators. I've been very,
Mm,
very fortunate. And I think the most successful I have seen, and I figured this out, took me, I don't know, a couple of years of teaching in the classroom, and it kind of dawned on me like I'm not going to get anywhere if I don't have a positive climate in this classroom.
mm-hmm,
If I do not establish an environment where these guys respect one another and take the time to understand our differences, etc., I'm not going to get really far with the curriculum. And I would say, even when I was principal, I would always suggest to the teachers, spend that time, get to know your students first, and develop a learning environment where they feel safe, they can take risks, learning risks,
mm,
ask any question that's on their mind, but they also respect each other. And in that vein, I'll give you a little sneak preview. A friend, a very good friend, and I are hopefully creating a document to help teachers. I don't know if you've heard of SEL, it's social emotional learning, which is something that has just surfaced recently and is literally now being embedded into the curriculum through the inner.
nice. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So
wonderful.
as friend and I have decided that why don't we take the books and try to work on a curriculum, a SEL curriculum for
Mm-hmm,
teachers and educators in the classroom to make life a little bit easier in terms of embedding these expectations throughout the curriculum and make it a year-long thing. So we have developed 4 pillars, and it addresses differences, acceptance, kindness, and inclusion.
mm,
And we're in the process of developing lesson plans around each of those areas so that it's a go-to for teachers, but also focusing on exactly what we've been discussing today is every single student in that classroom has unique skills and strengths, and let's start highlighting that. Let's look at our differences, but let's put on our glasses and look through positive lens. Let's
mm-hmm.
look at our positive differences. How are your differences? How are you different from me, and why is that so great?
Right, right.
So that's
Wonderful. That sounds amazing. Looking forward to hearing more about that. So, what would you say though is the best support as a parent now? So, not only in the school, but also
Mhm,
at home. As
mhm.
parents, what do you think, are the best support that they can give their children with special needs?
My hope for parents is twofold: that they can use the parents of quote neurotypical children can use these books as a springboard to deep conversation about differences,
Right.
and children are naturally, they just make connections left, right, and center. So
Mm,
reading this at home with their child, and they say, hey, that's like so and so, then wow, the rich conversations that can follow. The other is I would love parents with children with special needs to celebrate with their child that there's somebody that looks like them
mhm.
or has same similarities to them. Look, and it's in a book. And I have to tell you, I have again, amazing teachers that I've worked with have, and they have a contained classroom. So a classroom of only, say, for example, children with on the spectrum,
Mm,
and they have used this book, and they're so. This is why they're so amazing. They take it and they tweak it obviously to the learning needs of their children. And this one teacher has put it on something called Boardmaker, which is really a great uh, technology tool
mhm.
for especially for students with autism. And boom, they see a character that has similarities to them up on a big screen.
Right.
And that is also something that I would really like for parents to celebrate
Mhm.
with their children. And also helping um, parents with children with special needs, you know entering the school system for the first time, helping them like navigate what that means. I mean, these people, they're amazing, and they they're the specialist about their child. I mean, they know
Yes.
their strengths like the back of their hand, and it's. I would love to offer tips
Yeah.
about how to navigate the school system and how important it is to work as a team with the education system. And because you're both there for the same reason, you both want the absolute best for your child. How important it is to develop a strong team
Hmm.
with and how to go about that. And I have to say, like, I have worked with absolutely incredible parents
Hmm.
with children with special needs. And when you are on the same team, it's beautiful because you have a trusting relationship,
Yes.
and that can only result in positive growth for the child, in my opinion.
Right. Absolutely. Great suggestions. Aside from, your wonderful book series and what you were talking about with cell curriculum coming out, what other great resources are there for children and adults in terms of educating and supporting someone with special needs?
In the school. The TAs, some boards call them EAs, teaching assistants, educational assistants, who are work with children with special needs. They are an amazing resource. If you ever, as a teacher, as a parent, if you need resources or strategies, etc., they are a wealth of knowledge. Again, I've worked with many
Mm,
of them within in schools, and they're incredible. Like, they understand completely, and they're so helpful. So there, I would say, the human resources, there's a wealth of knowledge. At the school level, within the Board of Education, every Board of Education, to my knowledge, has a special education department, and you will find a plethora of human resources again,
mhm.
and texts, and any type of written print workshops that are so helpful within the board. Also, through my research and what I've been doing, I've discovered a couple of great magazines,
Mhm.
specifically around autism right now, Autism Parenting and Autism Advocate. Amazing articles written about for parents, and I would find it very helpful for educators as well, with respect to, you name the topic, social skills, or all, just a ton of information. So
Mm.
those are some ways that you can find resources that support the topic.
Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you for inspiring us today with your amazing journey, your expertise and wisdom. I want to thank you for your dedication in the wonderful work you're doing. Can't wait to see more books come out and more of the kind of feedback and work that from your little followers as well on the social media, because they're amazing as well.
They
Um, Thank you to all our listeners. We're grateful for you tuning in today, and we hope that you gain some awareness and also useful strategies to support those with varying needs in our society, and especially children. I will be leaving Kelly's links to her social media as well as her book series on our show notes. And please do show her some love and give her some support. Thank you very much, everyone. Talk to you soon.
thank, thank you so much.
Your thoughts on this episode is encouraged on all our social media platforms, which are listed in the podcast descriptions. I hope you will consider joining us on our online community. I look forward to seeing you there. If you like our programs, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on that bell to get notifications of any new programs. If you would like to continually support the growth of our social programs, please consider a one-time or a subscription of donations. To donate, visit ourinnersparks.com/products/donations. Please feel free to email us at ourinnersparks@gmail.com. Should you or someone in your life have been actively contributing in the community and have some expertise that could be shared on our podcast, please feel free to email me with a nomination for future features. Again, the email is ourinnersparks@gmail.com. Thank you again for listening to this episode of Our Inner Sparks Featured Insights.